Hello, 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 everyone. CT Luna here. Welcome to the Audio Lab. Throughout the month of July, I'm running a little experiment because I know so many of you love to listen to your books. And since I'm getting ready to eventually, at some point, record and publish the official audiobook for Beyond Borders, Emerging into Golden Multidimensionality, I wanted to practice out loud with you first. So every single day this month, I'm pulling up a chair, reading a few pages of my memoir right here. And if you're on the free list, these daily drops will stay open for just a few days before they head into the archives for my paid subscribers. So make sure you keep up. And if you ever miss a session or want to unlock the whole archive to listen at your own pace, you can upgrade to a paid subscription at any time. Today, we are stepping into part 3, Reimagining the American Dream. And that opens into chapter 8, Beyond the Picket Fence. So this is actually, for me, my favorite part of the book. This is where I think the book really sort of like picks up and starts to pivot into the golden multidimensionality part of the book rather than the Brown Beyond Borders part. I mean, Brown Beyond Borders is the whole story. But anyway, without further ado, let me get started reading. Chapter 8, Brown Beyond the Picket Fence. The American dream has long been etched into the collective consciousness of the American people. It conjures images of white picket fences, nuclear families, and a steady climb up the corporate ladder. Having begun my career in the United States and now finding myself in the heart of Europe, my casual observation is that versions of these ideals have made their way into European culture and lifestyle too. Academic success to land a secure job that makes way for career continuity, along with prosperity and opportunity for continued and ever expanding success. Yet this idyllic picture has often excluded the narratives of those who don't fit the mold, particularly women of color and immigrants who have navigated a different landscape, one fraught with systemic barriers and limited representation. For many of us, the traditional American dream has felt like an ill-fitting suit, a garment designed for someone else's body. The narrow definition of success, often equated with material wealth and social status, has left little room for the diverse aspirations and experiences of marginalized communities. While we may have achieved academic success and professional qualifications, we continue to encounter systemic barriers that limit our opportunities for advancement. These barriers can manifest as workplace discrimination, lack of representation in leadership roles, and a persistent wage gap. As a result, we may find ourselves questioning our place within the American dream narrative and feeling excluded from its promises of prosperity and equality. In essence, the American dream, as it has been traditionally defined, does not fully encompass the experiences and aspirations of US educated brown immigrant women who may find themselves in any corner of the world. It's time to reclaim the narrative, to redefine success on our own terms, and to create a more inclusive and empowering vision of the American dream, the universal dream of aligning with and moving in the direction of your soul's vision of who you are. It's time to shatter the limitations of the past and step into a future where a new dream is accessible to all, regardless of race, gender, background, or nationality. Our plane touched down on Maui on New Year's Eve, 2006. Smiling faces greeted us at the baggage claim. Leis outstretched, a warm aloha replacing the usual airport bustle. The open-air terminal, filled with palm trees and lush greenery, exuded a sense of calm I'd never experienced in an airport. The genuine smiles and slower pace were a balm to my frayed nerves. As I stepped outside, the warm, mango-scented air solidified my feeling. This is where I needed to be. Goodbye, DC. Goodbye to the East Coast hustle. Driving up Haleakala towards Kula, I watched the sugarcane fields blur past, a visual echo of my past life, a chaotic montage of juggling multiple roles, code switching, and wearing several masks, constantly trying to meet others' expectations. In DC, I was like someone endlessly flipping TV channels, never settling, always searching for something better. It was exhausting. My sweetheart used to call me fritto misto back then, which in Italian means a jumble of fried ingredients, a fitting description for my scattered self. But as we ascended the volcano, a sense of distance grew between me and that past life. Rewind to the months in Washington before Maui. I had just orchestrated a successful media junket for an activist movie star, the press conference overflowing with reporters. My work had generated a wave of media coverage. On paper, my professional life was thriving, but inside, I was a wreck. Despite my achievements, my self esteem had been shattered by a toxic previous job. I felt like an imposter, unworthy, and deeply unhappy. I had recently left a long term relationship and bounced between temporary apartments. 2006 became my year of nomadic living. My current job with the Genocide Awareness Coalition was filled with good people and meaningful work, but I was running on empty. My boss, Carol, was kind and empathetic, which made my resignation even harder. When she teared up asking, "Why?" I felt a pang of guilt. I couldn't bring myself to tell her the truth, that I'd lost all motivation, that I might even be depressed. Because good girls from good families, especially brown ones, weren't supposed to feel that way. I gave her the surface level truth. My sweetheart had a consulting opportunity on Maui, and I was going with him. But the real reason was a desperate need to escape the toxicity I'd internalized. The island felt like a lifeline. "Just come with me," he said. I didn't need convincing. The opportunity to leave DC felt like an answer to unspoken prayers. I didn't realize that while Maui, bleh, I didn't realize, oh, there we go. I didn't realize then that while Maui offered a physical escape, the real work of healing from the emotional and psychological damage would take much longer. But as the plane landed and the warm air enveloped me, I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, a fresh start was possible. The sugarcane fields whipped past our car window as we climbed Haleakala, the road winding towards our cottage in Pukalani, Maui's hole to heaven. Just weeks earlier, I'd left a toxic job in DC, my self-esteem in tatters, seeking solace in the island's beauty. But paradise, it turned out, wasn't a cure-all. My sweetheart's consulting gig imploded within days, leaving us both out of work. The shiny new mini SUV we'd impulsively bought became a symbol of our precarious situation. To make matters worse, our neighbors turned out to be meth dealers, their constant traffic and chemical fumes a jarring contrast to the island's tranquility. I lay awake at night, my mind racing with worry. Desperate for work, I resorted to the spaghetti approach, flinging my resume at any job that seemed remotely plausible. The temp agencies, wary of mainlanders with a history of flight, were my best bet. My sweetheart thankfully landed a job prepping food at a local grocery store, providing a sliver of stability. But the worry never left. It was a constant hum in the background, a nagging reminder of my perceived failures. One day, a glimmer of hope, an interview with a prestigious financial services firm. The role was administrative, a far cry from my previous work, but it offered the promise of respectability and a steady paycheck. I put on my best professional mask, hoping to conceal my lack of financial experience and the anxiety churning within. The interview went surprisingly well, and I left feeling a cautious optimism, but I didn't get the job. Then days turned into weeks of unemployment, and all my old doubts crept back in. I felt like a fraud, my self worth tethered to professional success. The internalized toxicity I'd brought with me from DC was proving stubbornly resistant to the island's healing powers. Maui's beauty was a balm to my frayed nerves, but it couldn't erase the deep-seated insecurities and anxieties that had taken root within me. The chaos of my job search, the unsettling proximity to the meth lab, these were all manifestations of my inner turmoil. Excuse me, let me. My journey to Maui was not just a geographical relocation. It was an emotional and psychological pilgrimage. The burnout I experienced in DC, the feeling of being a frito misto in a world that demanded conformity, had left me yearning for a sense of belonging and purpose. Moving to Maui was most definitely about giving up and escaping. Leaving Washington was a radical decision that was about rejecting the societal pressures that had been suffocating me. Societal pressures that, admittedly, I had adopted and internalized. It was about rejecting the traditional American dream. It was about taking responsibility for my complicity in perpetuating it, chasing the conventional markers of success, a prestigious job, a regular paycheck, and believing that I would be rewarded with upward mobility if I showed up, did good work, and waited patiently. Maui, with its aloha spirit and emphasis on nature, community, and interconnectedness, offered a stark contrast to the individualistic and materialistic values that had shaped my understanding of success. As I settled into island life, I began to realize that the American dream, as it had been presented to me, was a narrative that didn't fully encompass my experiences as a biracial immigrant woman. The dream of climbing the corporate ladder, of accumulating wealth and status, felt hollow in the face of the island's emphasis on community, connection, and living in harmony with nature. Intuitively, I knew that moving to Maui was an opportunity to break old beliefs, habits, and patterns of behavior. This could be my do over, a chance to embrace a new definition of success that centered on personal fulfillment, mental well being, and living a life aligned with my passions. Whether I knew it or not, I desperately needed to move to Maui to create a space for myself to breathe, to heal, and to reconnect with or discover my core values. Being in this new environment catalyzed a profound shift in my understanding of the life I wanted to live. If I were ever to be happy and fulfilled, I would have to seize the steering wheel and be more explicit in declaring what I wanted out of life. Before Maui, I simply accepted some generic version of someone else's American dream, and it was killing me. It was on Maui that I began to envision a different kind of dream, one that I would come to understand as my soul's vision for my journey through life and purpose. This vision was not about chasing external validation or conforming to societal expectations. It was about embracing my unique identity, honoring my cultural heritage, and living a life that was aligned with my deepest values and aspirations. My journey on Maui was tough, but transformative. Embracing this new vision helped me discover a personal sense of liberation or a sense of coming home to myself. This journey was not about fitting into a pre existing mold, but about creating my unique path. It was about embracing my multiple identities, navigating the complexities of my lived experiences, and recognizing that I embody the sum total of everything that is and has been up to that moment. I would love to say it was as easy as trading the boardroom for the beach, the corporate grind for the freedom of the open road, but I still needed to pay the rent every month and cover the costs of my car note. I looked for work that would afford me the time and space to work on my terms and contribute to the community in a meaningful way. I discovered a love for writing, a passion that had been dormant for years, and while writing reflections in my journal, I mustered the courage to write articles for the local newspaper. I reconnected with nature, with myself, and with the joy of living a simple life. This experience taught me a valuable lesson. Success is not about material wealth or upward mobility. It's about living a life that brings joy. It's about being authentic in alignment with your values. It's about finding your purpose and making a positive impact on the world around you. I think that's where we're stopping for today because I seem to be struggling with something in my throat. So, if you have a question about the book, the writing process, or anything we covered in today's segment, drop it in the comments of this post, and I might just answer yours on a future episode. I'm really glad I'm getting the chance to share this unedited process with you. Look out for the next pages in your inbox tomorrow morning. This is where I personally feel like the book really picks up and starts to pick up a certain momentum. So I'm excited about reading the next few pages over the next couple days. If you know someone who would connect with this part of the journey or any part of the journey, please share this post with them while it's still open to the public. And if you want to support this audio experiment and my writing as I start drafting book 2, consider becoming a paid subscriber to unlock everything and also get a copy of my book, at least the ebook. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow.